So this didn't turn out the way I thought it would. I came into this class not entirely sure what I was going to do. I knew that whatever I did, I had to create a film. And I wasn't going to leave without making one. When we first got together with a group of mates and I told them I wanted to make a film, we ended up brainstorming this idea of creating a film that was unintelligibly crazy at the start, only to come together and really make sense right at the very end of the film. When we first expanded the idea, it sounded great. It would be a film that nobody's ever really experienced before. It would be unique, and funnily enough, having a unique film is harder than it sounds. During the research stage of everything, I had to see what was similar, what was different, what was good, what was bad, what was a mistake, and what was intentional. And I really couldn't find anything that would help in this spiral of a film. At the end of that all, I discovered that this film was going to be a lot of work. So we went back to the drawing board and we decided to create some compromises. Rather than have a completely confusing film, we decided to create almost a film about multiple perspectives on the same world. Of course, by this time, the actual name of the project had to be given so that we could, record the progress we'd made. And I really wanted something that stood out, something unique, but didn't sound like your generic The School Murder or, stuff like that. The Bully or anything that starts with the, really. But I came across a new word to add to the vocabulary list: Phantasmagoria. Phantasmagoria, to my understanding, is a sequence of dream-like images. And that sounded really interesting, but it had absolutely nothing to do with the film I wanted to create. So I had to decide, do I keep the story and find a new title, or do I keep the title and get a new story? And it was really a battle between which one I liked more. And long story short, the title won. I figured if I liked the title of a film more than I liked the script, then I would be more passionate in creating a new story that fit the title. So I had to go right back to the research stage and really look at what could I do to make a dreamlike sequence. And I ended up stumbling back across an old video I watched a couple of days prior, and it had this one shot in it. The entire background was blurred out and a singular glass sat on the table, and that was the only thing in focus. And I thought, that is not only a beautiful shot, but it's a brilliant idea. So I got right to work. I was going to create a film that was 110% blur. I thought of maybe in focusing on objects that corresponded to how the characters feel or what their actions are, that sort of thing. But I was just really excited to create the script. So as soon as I submitted my research, I got straight onto script writing, and I included everything: shot descriptions, audio, sound effects, music, and I was really excited to see this thing through. It was going to be one of my best works, one of my favourite films I've ever made, and I was really excited to see it through and have it done. The only problem was it needed actors. I had sent out a couple of requests for actors in both my own class and other classes, and nobody put their hand up. I had to somehow revive this film. Of course, they all had their own projects to do. Everyone in the same class was creating their own little unique project that they needed to have done in 2-3 weeks time. I only needed a minimum of 2 actors, and if that meant that I had to jump in as one of the actors, I could do it. But when it came to the question of whether I could film the entire thing by myself, I backed down, and I was in the mindset of this film would not be the quality I wanted it to be if I had turned it into a one-man show. And I don't regret not filming it by myself, despite how enthusiastic I was to get it done. I thought about releasing the script so that people could read it, people could gain an interest in what they were doing, and then, you know, put their hand up to be actors. But I then had the complication of, well, who would take it? Who would take the film idea, take the script almost, and create their own thing? And obviously, being a high school, that risk was extremely low, but I would like to ensure that I was the first to do this, right? Regardless of whether it turned out great or poor, I wanted to be the first one to create this new way of filming. 2 things were very important. 1, that I created a film, and 2, that it was a film that I was proud of. Something that I wasn't just gonna throw away and forget about, you know? It needed to be a high quality. And if that meant that I couldn't perform in my own show, then that meant I couldn't perform in my own show. So I had a decision to make. Either I scrapped the film and just submitted the script, or I continued to create a film in some way, shape or form. I really wanted to get this film done. I wasn't going to leave this class without one. And I figured I had to do a almost director's cut for the film anyway, because I needed to include my process and journey of creating the film to pass the class anyway. So I thought, what if I just created a documentary style film about Phantasmagoria and how it didn't happen. I I had to revisit some of the thought processes and actions I took and why I took them. And I'm almost relieved that I did that, because if I had left it to rot, then it would mean that I wouldn't be able to appreciate the things that I've created so far. The script was not just some draft piece of writing. It was a story that had to be scrapped 2 times before we got it to somewhere we liked. And regardless of whether what we liked was perfect or not, it was something we were eager to push forward and pursue. So, really, in creating Phantasmagoria, I'd almost forgotten that the journey was more important than the actual product. Phantasmagoria is almost evidence of overcoming multiple obstacles. No matter what we threw at it, location inaccuracies, COVID lockdowns, lack of actors, it weaved and dodged its way around and turned into this script that would probably be one of my best works. I'm really happy with the script. I've still got the script and I don't know how long I'm going to have it, but I know that it's there, ready to be picked up and used at any time I want. And that's the important thing. Phantasmagoria is something special, something that I'm proud of. And I really like the way it turned out. The script, this documentary, it was all a really good, almost a learning experience that things will go wrong and sometimes you have to pull the plug. But that doesn't mean that everything's over. It just means that there's now more room to do other things.